Okay. Okay. Fix it. I feel like I want to fix it. I don't know. I'll just leave it. Yeah. This pain in my stomach is like bothering me. It's not even a pain. It's like an annoying pain, you know? Oh, it's just really annoying. I'm probably dying. I don't know. How does it look if I just do that a little bit? It's a little better. Yeah, okay. Hey beautifuls! So today I am giving you guys another story time video. This is actually a pretty juicy one. I've been wanting to tell this one for a very long time, but considering the matters that it is inappropriate, if things like graphic porn, sex bother you, please exit the video now. I was actually gonna save this story for when Nate comes. What? I was actually going to save the story for when my friend Nate comes down here from Maine. However, I think we are going to do a video about like all of the crazy ass shit that happened to us in middle school because, fun fact, he is my ex, but we are best friends now, which is kind of ironic and it's awesome and I love him to death. I'm really happy he's in my life, much needless to say. Very thankful that he's still in my life because he is a cool ass kid and he doesn't deserve a lot of the shit that happened to him, but we'll get into that in another video. Hopefully going to be doing like a whole like story time-ish video about all of the horrible shit that happened to us in middle school, horrible shit that happened to us when we dated, like just it's gonna be fun. So this story on its own is like one for the books. It is crazy. It is like what the fuck kind of. In my mind it is. Like I was just like, alright, cool, like whatever. And it is a story about how in 7th grade I got my MacBook taken away from me for writing graphic porn on it. Who am I? Hi! A little background. So this was probably around springtime of my 7th grade year. So I'm gonna guess it was like March, April, May. Like in that range. I'm gonna guess it was like March or April, okay? I love to write. It's something I've always loved to do. I love having journals. I always had a million diaries when I was a kid. Like I'm drooling. I was obsessed with writing, and I still love writing now. It's something that I'm really passionate about, that I love. Even when I was in elementary school, I had teachers tell my mom, like, hey, she could be a writer, she could be, you know, a novelist, whatever, and which was pretty awesome, I have to say. However, that didn't really play out that way, but I still love to write. I feel like it's the best way I can clear my mind, all that bullshit. So I had actually ended up writing this story in a notebook. Now, I think I may still have the notebook. I don't know if I threw it out. Oh wait, no, I still have the notebook, you guys. Hold on a second. So this was actually the notebook that I had written this graphic ass story in, and believe it or not, it is still in here. And I'm not gonna read any of it, but I just wanted to show you guys, like, still in here. I still have the original evidence, ha ha ha. So it's not made up and it's not a fake story time. A little background, the reason why we had MacBooks was basically because around when I was in middle school, 2005 to 2007, because there was only 2 grades in the middle school that I went to, we were allowed to have a MacBook for a year to use for school purposes. Like the teachers were very involved with like the MacBook stuff and like Dropbox and everything like that. So that's how we did a lot of our homework and a lot of our schoolwork, if it was like PowerPoints or whatever, which was awesome. Pretty awesome. We actually started using the MacBooks when I was in elementary school up there. We were, I think, one of the first states in the entire country to start that whole program of like students being able to use a computer throughout the year for school purposes only. And now my sister in high school as a sophomore, they get Chromebooks, like the Google Chromebooks, to use throughout the year. So fun fact, we were the first ones that started that program. Woo! We're involved with it. It was called like MEA or METs or something like that. It was something, I don't know what it was. Basically, we had the old MacBooks where charger port was not MagSafe. It was like the circular one. If I could find a picture of it, I'll put it here. Like you had to put it in and then the ring would like turn orange if it was charging or green if it was done charging. You get what I'm saying. Basically, we had MacBooks, which was pretty fucking awesome. Reason why I love mine so much, and I would never use another computer ever because this is like life to me. Okay, little background done. I had the brilliant idea one night to decide to start writing my graphic novel, which this is not the name of it, this is just something I put on my notebook, on my Mac. Okay, so yeah, basically. I started typing this out because I was like, oh, I want it to look nice. So I just decided to start typing it out in Microsoft Word, and I was doing that. And I did happen to notice, I could be wrong, I don't know if this is what it was, but the way that they would keep an eye on our computers was you would see in the corner of your screen, probably like near like the time and the toolbar, would be like little eyes that would like be looking at your screen. So Yeah, that's how they would keep track of, like, the administration could look at everyone's screens. I happened to notice, like, something out of the corner of my eye, but I didn't exactly see what it was, and by the time I looked up to see what it was gone. So I'm guessing that they were looking at my screen, and that's, you know, the reason why this all happened to me. I had actually been writing the story for a couple nights as well on my Mac, so I feel like, I don't know, it was just like a random thing. They just randomly checked. I don't know. After that, I just, you know, closed my Mac, went to bed, didn't think anything of it. The next day, I was in my Language Arts 1 class, because we had 2 LA classes, fun fact. I was just sitting there with my class. We had our Macs open. You know, we were doing whatever we were doing. And the assistant principal, he's retired. He's not there anymore. Thank God. Nobody liked him. He was an asshole. Like, he was just like, he was just an asshole and everyone hated him, basically. No offense, I'm sure you're having a nice life now with your wife and your children and everything, but you're a dick. Like, you're a dick. He came in and was like, hey, you know, is Samantha here? And I was just like, yeah. Like, I didn't really understand what was going on, to be honest with you, and I did not know that they were going to take my MacBook at this point, okay? I was just like, okay, whatever. So he left the room for a minute, came back, literally came to my desk, took my Mac that was sitting on my desk, unplugged it, and just left the room with it. And everyone was like, what? And I was like, what? Like, what the fuck? Like, why did you just take my MacBook? It was just really, I don't know. I didn't process really what was going on. I really honestly had no idea what was going on, that they were taking my MacBook because they saw what I was typing or anything. So just keep that in mind. Like, I was probably 13 right at this age, and I had no idea what the fuck was going on. At that time, I was like, like, okay, whatever, like, cool. Into my LA2 class, and in my school, or the schools I went to in Maine, the loudspeakers were like on the ceiling, kind of like how you would see like the speakers in like a restaurant, a store, like they would be on the ceiling and you would see the speaker. That's how the speakers were for the loudspeakers, and if they wanted to page, and you could respond too, so it was like microphone and shit. It was weird. Guess who came on that loudspeaker, you guys? Guess who came on that fucking loudspeaker? It's like, can you have Samantha come to my office? And I hated this so much, and I still hate this now. So if your school does this, I'm so sorry, because I feel like, number one, it's so fucking embarrassing, especially if you're getting in trouble for something, or just in general. Like, it's just so embarrassing, and it's like, oh my god, send them to the office. Like, you can't just like have a phone and just call. Like, you can't just do that. You had to do it in a loudspeaker. I don't know, that just makes me feel like, I don't know, I feel weird about that. But anyway, called me down to the office, and so my teacher was like, okay, go. So I went. I had no idea what was going on. Still at this point, no idea. I was just like, okay, great, what the fuck, you know, whatever. Going back in time, if I'd realized they'd look at my screen, I would have deleted everything and just trashed it, and they wouldn't have any evidence, and I would have been like, what now? But I was stupid. No, I was pretty naive at this point. I went down to his office, I was sitting there, and he was like, do you know why you're here? And I'm like, no, actually I don't, like, at all. Literally, they printed off my story and a lot of other stuff that I was like fucking around with on my computer. Like, it wasn't anything serious, it was just all for fun, like, because I was bored. And I was like, oh my god. They printed off the story and everything else on my Mac. I was like, bitch, like, really? He was like, what is this? Tell me what this is. And I was like, it's a story I was writing. And like, at this point I was like, oh my god, like, I was in shock. And usually around this time when I was younger, if I ever got in trouble, I would cry, because I was kind of a goody-goody in a sense. Like, I never really got in trouble. I hated getting in trouble. Like, I would always cry. Like, it was that, you know, I was kind of that kid. At this point, I was starting to get really upset, and I started to kind of cry, and I was like, oh my god, like, I was freaking out. I was like, great, I'm getting in trouble for this. So he was like, we're gonna have to call your parents are on their way right now, we're gonna have a meeting with them. And I was like, are you fucking serious right now? And let me just tell you guys, the graphic evidence, the graphic stuff of this story, I will say, there are some graphic sex scenes in it, which is the reason why they took away my MacBook. Short and sweet. So if that's all you care about and you want a video now, then bye. I'm just like looking through this right now, and I'm just like, yeah, so this is like a real story. It's not fake, I promise. So after sitting in his office for a little while, my parents came, my mom and my dad, and we sat in a conference room, and I came in and I just started crying. I guess my mom told me he had showed everything to them in the first place, and they were both kind of like, all right, whatever, like, okay, like, you know, but they all said that this was good writing, even though it was like inappropriate. And I was just like, really? after all of that. My dad was like, this is good, like, this is good stuff. Like, like, this is good writing. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, and my mom was like, okay, well, I think my mom told me later on, she was like, they blew it out of proportion so much. Like, they made it act like you were like a sex addict or something. Like, they made it seem like I was like this, you know, this whore that just like threw my body at boys at 13. I got in there and I just immediately started bawling my eyes out because I was like, fuck, I'm in trouble. Fuck, I'm gonna die. Like, this is wonderful, great. And he's like pressing me so much at this point and pressing to my parents, being like, do you see what she did? This is horrible. This is not school rules, blah, 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 blah. But then at the end of it, he was like, oh, but she's a good student. Yes, I'm a good student, but yet you just like pressed me so hard and made me feel like such fucking shit for this fucking story, you piece of fucking shit. Really? 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 Yeah. So that was fun. So after the discussion, the end of it, he was like, well, I'm gonna give her an after school office detention, which this detention probably was like about 2 hours long, so it was whatever. And we're taking away her MacBook for the rest of the year. And they were like, okay, whatever. And like, I was like, whatever, like, whatever. I don't think anyone found out about why I got my MacBook taken away, but everyone, like, in my grade knew, like, because we were, like, a small community, like, everyone knew. I went to the principal's office, everyone knew my parents were there, and everyone knew I got my Mac taken away, but I don't think they really knew why. So, cross your fingers that nobody else knew why up until this point, but basically the reason was because I wrote a graphic sex novel on my MacBook and got caught and got it taken away. Any of you guys out there in the country that have this program, please do not go on anything inappropriate. Do not write anything inappropriate. Do not, you know, use swears, sex, anything like that, because you'll get your shit taken and you will get in trouble, and it really fucking sucks, to be honest with you. I think Nate actually told me later on when he was in high school, he had, you know, this program as well, but he got his taken away for literal porn. So mine's not so bad when you think about it, but oh my god, like that was, I think it was one of the worst days of my life. Like I was terrified. I was truly, truly traumatized. I was like, great. Wonderful. Yay. Fabulous. So to end the story, I remember getting home that day and my parents were like, okay, well, I guess we gotta punish you. And I was like, no, please don't. I don't remember if they grounded me or anything, or they might have been like, you can't use the phone for the rest of the week or something like that. But like, they were just kind of like, okay, well, don't do it again. You know, like, not to be like so nonchalant about it, because believe me when I say I got grounded so hard by my parents when I was in middle school, like so hard. Like my dad did not fucking play, like at all. Like he took away everything. Maybe I'll do another story about that if you guys would like. My dad was an amazing man. He was an amazing person, made me who I am. So, you know, I appreciate him being tough on me and everything. And, you know, God rest his soul. And, but he grounded me so hard. I was like, fuck, I'm gonna die. So that was the story of how I got my Mac taken away for porn. Basically, it was basically porn, you guys. Like basically porn. Don't be me. If anything, the reason I tell my stories about my life and just this random shit, horrible shit that happens to me is because I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I did. Don't be me. Don't do these things. You know, have a good ass bomb life. And again, if you have this program or you use a school computer throughout the year that you take home, it's your responsibility. Do not do anything inappropriate on it. I don't even recommend you use it for like Facebook, or is even Facebook still a thing? Like, no. For like Twitter or YouTube or anything. Like, I just recommend you don't use it at all. Like if you have one at home, use that one. Don't even use this or anything else, because it's like shit can get real quick. So yeah, but I hope you guys enjoyed this story and learned valuable lesson from it like I did. The next year, 8th grade, I had no issues. I didn't do any of that. I used my computer, you know, as I normally did, and I didn't really have any issues and any problems, which was awesome. So yeah, but I love you guys so much. Hope you have an awesome day. Subscribe if you want to see more of me, and like this video if you enjoyed. My favorites will be out on Friday, and I'm not working this week, so that's just the usual. But yeah, so I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Don't be me.